Hey there, welcome to this mini training on how to go from overwhelm to clarity. We live in a world cluttered by random shit. It's no wonder that also our inner world becomes cluttered and overwhelmed with pressure, expectations, to-dos, and responsibilities. We find solutions to impossible problems the same way a magician pulls rabbits off a hat. We storm through life like an elephant hunted down by a pack of really scary mice. So in this mini training, I would like to show you 5 ways in which you can really get away from overwhelm and go back to clarity. So I'm gonna talk about why overwhelm is becoming such a plague in the modern times, what happens to your brain when it is overwhelmed, and the 5 powerful ways to melt overwhelm into thin air. So this is how we feel when we are overwhelmed. Pretty much like the first image. What we want to do is just to lay down somewhere in a corner and pitiful away for the way in which we feel, without energy, completely crushed, hopeless, exhausted. And when we are so overwhelmed, we barely take the time to breathe. We don't take the time to regroup our thoughts and tidy them up from all the randomness taking up precious space in our mind. We instead keep adding things to do, goals to achieve, dreams and projects we love because we love so many, relationships to nurture, exotic places to visit, work to do and more work to do and groceries to buy, and all at once in a never ending and ever growing list of stuff. And because of it, clarity just greets us from an island far away, hoping to come back home one day or the other. Our dreams and passions and projects are piled up in a corner, dusting away, staring at us with pitiful eyes like a puppy left alone for too long. And in the meanwhile, what's going on around us? Well, everywhere you look, either on social media, outside on advertisement from colleagues and friends, what do you hear the whole time? Well, the usual relax, take it easy, slow down, think positive, dream big, breathe, live your dream. So that now, even having a dream is attached to pressure, expectation, and comparison. Because the dream needs to be big, because we have to be happy while doing so, because we need to live our dream, whatever that really means. So, where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us that it just doesn't work because we cannot just proclaim from tomorrow I live my dream and think positive and be happy and everything is gonna be fine. And because at the end of the day, that's not how our brain works. So, how does our brain really works? Well, the overwhelmed brain is really a poor little thing. It cannot make decisions. The overwhelmed brain is too confused, overloaded, and anxious to take decisions. It's living in a constant place of danger, of panic, of just imagine a baby hedgehog trapped on the busy lane of the freeway. He's just desperately trying to survive the moment, not to get hit by a car, and all that he can see are the green fields on the other side of the freeways, greeting at him and promising relax and peace. So, do you think that this little baby hedgehog can take it easy? Can he calm down and focus on his big dream? I don't think so. He needs to first deal with the immediate danger. And once that is over, then he can reflect and understand and feel good and do a lot of beautiful things with his life. Well, unfortunately, we live in this constant feeling of danger, of emergency that we need to tackle. And that's why the overwhelmed brain very often just goes into autopilot. It's an attempt to feel less stressed out, and as a way to deal with the situation, it just starts doing things in automatic. And that's when you actually feel that you are stuck in a certain routine of doing what weighs you down more by the day. Um, and the overwhelmed brain is drowning. In the long run, overwhelm leads to anxiety, sleeping problems, exhaustion, and ultimately burnout, because overwhelm, well, is simply linked to stress. They're pretty much the same thing. Maybe overwhelm is just one step further of stress, but it doesn't really change the outcome when it is actually your reality for a prolonged period of time. So, how do you welcome clarity back? And how do you at the same time prevent overwhelm from coming back? How do you discover purposeful direction? How do you stay focused on what really matters? Well, life goes on as usual because we both know that that doesn't go away. So, here is my list of the 5 powerful ways to melt overwhelm into thin air and welcome clarity back. So, just in case you don't know who I am Valentina. I am a neuroscience geek and a change expert. I used to be a pretty anxious person. I had generalized anxiety and social anxiety, and I was living my life in distracting and avoiding the root causes for my anxiety. That's fortunately it is in my past, and I now live a purpose-driven life, and I am actually pretty obsessed with everything that can make us live a better life in an easier way, based on neuroscience, behavioral psychology, and massively obsessed with brain hacks, which means the smallest way that takes the smallest amount of time but that provides big results. So, the first of the 5 ways is to understand what you value the most in your life. So, in all the clutter that surrounds you all the time, what do you value the most in your life? What gives you goosebumps at the only idea? What can you feel deep down at the very center of your heart? Because these, believe me, are the things we often push to the bottom of the barrel, the ones we give the least attention to, and one of the reasons why, after a while, we feel disconnected and dissatisfied. So, what do you value? Adventure and exploration, a dream or many you cannot dare imagine, friends, family, and so much more. We have so many things sometimes, especially if you are a multi passionate person like me. We have so many dreams and passions and projects. They are all piled up in a corner, dusting away, staring at us with pitiful eyes like a puppy left alone for too long. So sometimes we take the time to dedicate to one of them, but then we feel the weight of all the others we are not giving our attention to. So, how many things do you want to do, try, savor, live through, experience at least once? Or maybe something you really want to include in your weekly routine that you want to start today. So, amongst all these things, what do you really value the most? The second way is to remove all the clutter that you can remove without regrets. Um, I know that you get the feeling that everything you're doing is necessary, but it is not always like that. it's time to shuffle things around a little bit, to do that bit of decluttering, to dust here and there, so that your clarity can shine through and come back home. So that even in the midst of your daily to-dos and life have-tos, you have that clear sense of purposeful direction guiding you, supporting you and soothing you, in the clarity and awareness of what matters, in the choice of carving out a little sparkle of time each day to do a bit of just that. That also means really understanding what needs to go, what toxic people are taking up your energy, your thoughts, your life, really. How many activities are time consuming, but they're really not adding any value to your life? Say social media, for example. How many expectations do you put on yourself that are just making things worse? How many distractions do you have in your life that are not bringing you any closer to your life goals? The third way is to see through the overwhelm. Sometimes we create our own limits by living according to our own limiting beliefs. And it's true for each one of us. We all have limiting beliefs about ourselves. As children, we have decided what is possible and what is impossible. We have carved our limits into stone and live by them day in and day out until that awareness and understanding comes, that we are so much more than we believe, that we decide at each and every moment what we can and cannot do. And yes, you can so much more if you only decide to. The fourth way is to make a life plan, because, well, nothing will happen by itself unless you make it happen. And I'm sure you know this by now. The fifth way is to stay focused, because life will keep throwing unexpected random shit at you, no matter what. It's what life does. And sometimes this random shit is the most awesome shit you can imagine, and other times it is not. And unless you find a way that works for you to stay really focused on what matters the most to you, then it's not gonna last long. So now, I hope that these 5 ways, in one way or the other, were insightful to you. And if you start from 1 to 5, I'm sure that you're gonna see benefits in your life. But just in case you want it easy, but really, really, really easy, well, I have created something for you. I have created the Overwhelm Exterminator mini course. It's evidence-based. It is a 3 steps process that I've used with myself several times in the last 10 years, and that I used at the beginning of the journey I do with my individual clients. Because this is my favorite kind of stuff. Easy, intuitive, and that works every time. And this is an essential life tool. It's not something that you will just do once and then it will lose any appeal for the future. It will bring immense power, clarity, direction every single time you will feel a little lost and you will decide to go through it. Because the amazing thing about it is that it will help you to welcome your clarity back home, because clarity is at the roots of a meaningful and harmonious life. When you do this exercise, this 3 steps process, you will discover what it takes to live a purpose-driven life and to have that sense of direction and focus that can bring you anywhere you want. It's very simple. It's an all-in-one process, mini course, however you want to call it. It takes less than 1 hour from start to end, and that's part of its superpower, because really, who has more time than that to really dedicate to something? You will identify through a very intuitive and guided process the 3 heart-aligned goals that matter the most to you. It's pretty amazing, really. You will be able to uh, get a laser focused clarity on what really matters to you, and at the same time declutter yourself from a lot of stuff that you thought was important, but maybe not as much as you thought. And then you will create a realistic plan of action, the easy way, one that seamlessly integrates with your real life. I know it seems impossible, but believe me, it is. And then last, you will learn the hacks you need to stay focused on your three heart aligned goals so that all the random shit in your life loses the power to cast away your clarity and cloud your sense of purposeful direction, so that you can do everything you did before, because hey, that doesn't go away and we both know it, but you will be able to do it in the awareness that you're also doing what your heart is calling you to act upon. You will move in that direction every single day, and I promise you that you will feel the difference in your life just from tomorrow. So if you feel like taking the easy path, if you want to get this mini course that I crafted just for you, then you just look down here. There is a buy now button, or there are more information about it. And I hope that this was useful to you. And if you feel like it, you can also just reach me by email and tell me what you found the most useful about this mini training, and in which way maybe I could improve it in the future.